you ready to get deadly? Yes, of course you are. It's On The Ledge podcast and I'm Jane Perrone. Hello and welcome to a special series of mini episodes dedicated to my new book, The Atlas of Deadly Plants, just in time for Halloween. Watcher, how are you doing, everybody? I know it's been a moment, but I'm back, not for good, but just for a little run of episodes, mini episodes dedicated to the Atlas of Deadly Plants, botanical tales of the world's most intoxicating, poisonous and dangerous specimens, written by me, with a foreword by Dr. Sarah E. Edwards and illustrated by Alice Smith. If you want to get your hands on a copy, then do check the show notes where you'll find all the links. And the good news is this time I have made sure that this book will be available wherever you are. So if you are in North America, you should be able to order this from any of your normal book suppliers, and hopefully in other parts of the world too. It's published by Greenfinch and you should be able to order it from your local bookshop of choice. Please do that and support your local indie bookshops. But if you're the kind of person who likes to listen to stuff rather than read stuff, there's also an audiobook version available. It's going to be available on my Patreon. So if you are a Patreon subscriber at the Legend or Superfan level, you will have access to this. You can also get it on Audible or Spotify. So please do support this book if you can, in any way, shape or form. It was so much fun to write, and in each of these episodes over the next 7 days, I'm going to give you a little insight into the book. Today's main course will be me reading the introduction to the book. So if you want to find out roughly what this is all about, this is a great place to start. So what is an Atlas of Deadly Plants? Well, as the name suggests, it's a geographical guide. So we've split the world into regions and covered plants from each of those regions to a total of 50. There are 50 plants and in fact some fungi too in this book. And when it comes to the definition of deadly, we've not been too strict about this. We're talking about plants that will do you harm, will make you feel like death warmed up, if not actually killing you in some cases. So we've got everything from poison ivy to tobacco to peyote to white bryony to black henbane. So if you want to find out about how these plants grow in the wild, the stories and folklore that have become attached to them over the ages, how they've been used as poisons, as medicines, as raw materials by us human beings, this is the book for you. And each of the 50 plants is accompanied by a gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, I'm telling you right now, absolutely gorgeous picture, an illustration by an illustrator called Alice Smith. They're very gothic. If you are a tattoo type person, you might be inspired by this book. So that's what you get if you buy a print edition. Some gorgeous illustrations as well. So I guess without any further ado, I'm going to let you have a little taster of the introduction to the book. This is the introduction that I've recorded for the audiobook. And if you want more, then skip on over to the show notes and get yourself a copy ordered. I would love to have your support. I know many of you were absolutely incredible in supporting Legends of the Leaf. I think you're going to enjoy this book just as much. So please, if you have got a copy, leave a review. It means so much to have reviews on wherever you've ordered your book, whether it's audio or print. I love to hear from you. So do drop me a line if you want to tell me something that you liked about the book, or tell me about a time that you were poisoned by a plant. It's on the Ledge podcast at gmail.com. Author's Introduction. One of my earliest childhood memories is of standing on a footpath, my face wet with tears, wondering if I was about to die. I'd wandered away while playing outside and couldn't quite remember how to get home. It was late summer in England, and the path linking two suburban streets was a green tunnel created by the canopies of the trees in the neighbouring gardens. I ate some tiny, shiny black berries dangling temptingly overhead, but seconds later it dawned on me that I had only the haziest idea of what they were, or if they were, in fact, deadly poisonous. A kindly passer-by asked what was wrong, and I pointed to the berries that I had snacked on. She reassured me that they were elderberries and harmless, and sent me back down the alleyway towards home. She was wrong about the berries. While elderberries, from the common elder tree Sambucus nigra, are no deadly nightshade or foxglove, they do contain chemical compounds called cyanogenic glycosides, which our guts process into hydrogen cyanide. In small amounts, this induces nausea, and in larger quantities can involve a trip to the emergency ward. I felt fine as I toddled back home. I'd only eaten a few berries after all. I have since consumed elderberries many times, but always make sure to cook them first, which renders them safe to eat. I only remembered this incident years later when researching the chemical makeup of elderberries for an article I was working on. It reminded me of two key points to keep in mind when considering whether a plant is poisonous or not, especially if you plan to eat it. The first is Paracelsus's saying, "The dose makes the poison." You may not have heard of Paracelsus, a 16th century Swiss physician, but you will have grasped the practical implications of his words by the time you reach adulthood. Got a headache? You might take 1 or 2 painkiller tablets, but you know that taking 50 of them won't make the pain 50 times better. It will land you in hospital. It is the same with plants, which is why it is always worth eating any new foods in small quantities before you make them a regular part of your diet. The second point is this: never rely on someone else's knowledge to identify a plant for you. The old forager's joke that everything is edible once isn't so funny when you start feeling a little odd a few minutes after eating a salad of leaves you thought looked like wild garlic. One of the key things I've learned through researching and writing this book is that many plant poisoning cases start with a forager mistaking a plant, any plant, for wild garlic. Plant poisonings as depicted in film and television are swift. No sooner has the deadly draught or dish passed the lips of the victim than they are writhing on the ground and stone dead soon after. The harsh reality is that most plant poisons take hours or days to do their work, with the initial symptoms often masquerading as other conditions, such as food poisoning. Now that I have scared you half to death, let me reassure you that just 5% of human poisoning cases reported to poison control centres in North America and Europe relate to plants. In today's world, we spend a lot less time interacting with plants than our forebears. And children, who usually account for the majority of poisoning patients who pitch up at hospital, spend far less time playing without parental supervision outside the home than in the past. Unlike in the 1970s and 80s, when I was busy snacking on raw elderberries. Today, we are far more likely to be poisoned by household chemicals, gases, such as carbon monoxide, and drugs, either legal or illicit, than by plants. I hope this does not put you off learning more about plants, poisonous or otherwise, because the more you come to know about a species, the more fascinating it becomes. From medieval scammers peddling white bryony roots to the Roman soldiers felled by rhododendron-poisoned honey, the poisonous plants in this book will surprise, delight and horrify you by equal turns. Whole books can, and indeed have, been written about some of the species featured here, but I hope that this particular book will, like all good atlases, inspire you to plot your next foray into the fascinating realms of the plant kingdom. A warning. The information in this book about plant species and plant-derived medicines is included for reference purposes only. It is not intended to be used either as a guide for accurately identifying plant species in the wild or as a substitute for professional medical advice or treatment. You should consult a qualified healthcare professional on any matters requiring diagnosis or medical attention and before using any plant-derived medicines. I do hope you enjoyed that. And I'll be back tomorrow to talk about something from the book, specifically the ancient anaesthetic known as dwale. So tune in tomorrow for more from the Atlas of Deadly Plants. Bye.